Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, verses 1 to 3, Allah says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. And the translation of these verses are, certainly will the believers have succeeded, they who are during their prayer humbly submissive, who avoid vain talk. Now, a growing problem amongst our youth is this issue of procrastination. Every other person these days complains of having great ideas and plans but not being able to execute them. They complain of wanting to do their prayers but not being able to do them. Just getting up and doing wuzu and praying for 5 minutes seems impossible. So how come this is becoming a growing problem in this generation and it didn't exist as much in the previous generations? Why were people so active and determined in the past, but now suddenly we're just so lazy? And the answer is simple: social media. So many of us are stuck with this new habit of surfing the net, checking different videos and posts on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We tell ourselves that we will watch just for a few minutes, but those few minutes turns into hours. We end up complaining that we just don't have time for prayers or tafseer because we're too busy studying, but we overlook the time we spend on social media doing nothing but just checking out different sites. In addition, these giant corporations have algorithms that monitor what we are watching and how long we are watching it so that it gets an idea of what we like. And then the next thing you know is that the minute you get on Facebook or Instagram, all you happen to see are the kind of things that you prefer. Now, what does that do? It gets you hooked on for even longer, leaving less time for anything else. And of course, more importantly, besides the time wasted, this has another problem of gradually and slowly making the haram seem as being something not that bad. Videos have a habit of depicting haram as being fun, cool, and exciting. So the next thing you know, we have a generation that finds Islam far too difficult, far too challenging. It involves too many struggles. And finally, one of the greatest dangers of wasting so much time on social media is that it drains you of positive energy. And you will notice this. If you have ever spent hours on social media just checking out different videos, looking at different posts, going on and on and on for hours, at the end of it, when you have to put your phone away, you will realize that you don't feel energized, happy, and productive. Strangely, you will realize that you feel very lethargic, lazy, drained, negative, just indifferent to life. And why is that? Because Allah made insan to be a very productive creature. That is in our fitrah. That's part of our nature. So after surfing for hours, when you end and you just realize that you wasted so much time doing nothing, it makes you feel negative, useless, drained of energy, and it actually inculcates guilt. And this is precisely what the verses are telling us, that the true Muslim will be vigilant of his prayers, his zikr, and his ibadat. And by ibadat, it means he will not be wasting his time in useless talk. He will be using as much time as he can to engage in zikr, to be vigilant of his prayers, and to go out and do some good deeds. Now, of course, when the verse talks about vain talk, that doesn't mean we cannot sit with our friends and just laugh and enjoy and have fun. Vain talk means sitting in the wrong company and spending hours and hours talking and listening about nothing productive. Or as in the case of this era where we have technology, it includes listening to people talk and watching them do things that have no meaning. And then you're doing this for hours. Now, of course, that doesn't mean social media is bad, but what it does mean is that it is very dangerous. It lures you and distracts you so easily. So if there is something important that you want to use social media for, make sure you time yourself. Make sure you discipline yourself and you understand that you are entering into a very dangerous zone. You could get trapped in it easily. It's like saying, if you get too close to sinning, eventually you will commit the sin. So in the same way, if you constantly keep going back to social media, then eventually you will get trapped by it, which means you will end up spending hours and hours surfing through the net, doing nothing productive, and feeling very negative about yourself. So don't underestimate the power of Iblis. There is a reason he is called the chief deceiver. Assalamu alaikum.